Hi and welcome to Sparkle Tart.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Kissing Class. Now this month we are looking at recycling. So we've had a look at some ideas to reuse some of your craft products in the last 2 weeks. This week we're going to have a look at paper scraps because there's something we all have. I may or may not have a whole folder of them. Sometimes they're too big to throw away and you sit there and think to yourself, you know, I could use that on a project. So you put it aside, or in a box, or in a folder, and never look at it again. Or you may have a few bits of random washi tape that you're looking to use. So today we're going to make a project that uses these things. And we're going to make a Bargello card. And this looks complicated when it's finished, but stick with me and I'll show you how easy this really can be. So to achieve the pattern we're working on today, you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different patterns, colours, pieces of paper, scraps. You'll need a central pattern, and I'm going to use this sparkly glitter tape from Kiki K. You'll need a colour pattern, and I have a washi tape from Jane Davenport here. You'll need something with black. You'll need something with black and a toned down colour. And then you'll need 2 paler versions. So this is sort of a paler version of that colour. And these little scraps here are a paler version of this. So when you're finished, you'll have a beautiful colour coordinated pattern. A little bit of colour, a little bit of sparkle, beautiful pale pastel colours. Now, you will need 1 strip of glitter tape, or whatever you're using for your central piece, 1.5 centimetres wide. You will need 2 strips of something with colour, again 1.5 centimetres wide. And you'll need 2 strips of each of the other products, all 1.5 centimetres wide. So everything that you now cut is 1.5 centimetres. So I'm just going to go and cut all of these strips to size. At this point, cut your double-sided adhesive sheet into a square measuring 16.5 centimetres by 16.5. Each of your paper strips should be this same length. And now you'll need to organise them into your pattern. Just remembering that this coloured washi tape will be here and here. And this will be the pattern that you need to lay onto your adhesive sheeting. So to start with, just peel one side of this protective layer off the double-sided adhesive. Now you don't need to peel the whole thing back just yet. Now, following the pattern of washi tape and paper pieces that you've laid out, glue each of the pieces of paper or washi onto the double-sided adhesive sheet. Press down each piece firmly to make sure it's made really good contact with that layer of adhesive. Repeat this process until your square of double-sided adhesive has been covered. Now don't forget, with that colourful washi tape, you'll need 1 strip either side of the gold washi. Once your square is completely covered, that's our first step done. Now all you need to do is flip it over and trim off those little tails. And then we're ready to cut the cardstock to make our pattern. So flip the cardstock around. We'll be cutting across each of those layers of paper. You'll need to cut your square into 11 different sized strips. You'll need 2 strips that are 2 centimetres wide. You'll need 2 strips that are 1.5 centimetres wide. You'll need 6 strips 1 centimetre wide, and 5 strips that are 0.7 or 0.7 centimetres wide. For the next step, you'll need a piece of cardstock measuring 16.5 by 16.5. And now we're going to start creating our pattern. So let's organise the strips of paper first. The skinniest strip is going to be our centre. Either side of it will be either the same size in our case, or a larger strip. We're then going to move on to the 1 centimetre strips. So one on each side. Then move to the 1.5s. And finally we finish with a 2 centimetre strip on each end. So basically you will need to arrange them from largest to smallest, working from the outside in. Now, if your strips have an image on there, make sure it's facing the right way up. Now at this point you can have a little play around and decide which pattern you would like to use. This is fantastic because you can really get a good sense of what it's going to look like. You can decide if you'd like to create a wave or a single point. You can also decide at this point if you would like your pattern symmetrical. Oh my goodness, I'm in love. Look how beautiful that is. Oh my goodness. Alright, so this is the pattern I want to create. What I need to do now is decide where my pattern will be. What I mean is we have a square card, but a non-square shape. So I need to decide where it's going to sit. So I'd like my card to sit around here on the pattern. Now, you can immediately see a problem with this. This piece isn't long enough. So what do you need to do? Well, the answer is quite simple. See how this is hanging over the edge here? Snip that piece of card off. And glue this from the top down. And then glue this tiny little piece back on the bottom here to create a full strip. Now, because we've used double-sided tape, this is quite simple and easy. And you just have to peel the backing off your tape and stick it down to your piece of card. Now, the next strip is far simpler. And what we're doing is we're going to line these gold sections up in a pattern. So this one is already the right size. And we just have to stick that full strip onto the cardstock. The third strip needs to be here. So let's stick that one down. Easiest thing to do is line up the gold and then just trim that little one on the bottom off and stick it to the top. Next one down, same thing. Line up the gold, trim off the tail and glue it back up to the top here. Now we're at the first change point, and what I mean by this is the next time we lay our strip down, we're going to make it so that the gold, instead of going down like we have been, it's going to go up. And this is what creates the wavy pattern. Now, same thing, cut the little bit off on the bottom, glue it back up on the top. And again, take the gold strip, up one. And this is the basic technique for the Bargello pattern. Start by laying it out on a surface so that you've got the pattern you're after. It's easiest if you've got a beautiful bold colour as your middle section so you can make sure you line up that pattern properly. Trim the tails from one end and add them to the other end. And this is as difficult as it gets. Are you beginning to see the rhythm here? Now this next one is the top section. So it's the point, and put it on the bottom. Now since that was the point, we're at the changeover section again, which means that we'll need to start moving our little gold middle section down. So instead of going up like we have been, move the pattern down. We are so close to being finished. 3 strips left to go. Now this is the point of that section there. So that's the last time we'll go down. Okay, so move the gold up. And for the last time, move the gold up. So we have our beautiful Bargello pattern, but not a very neat background. So to finish it off, trim it to a size you like. I've made mine 15.5 centimetres. Are there any pencil lines or little bits of cardstock peeking through? If there are, go over and fill in these gaps with a glue pen. I'm adding black glitter over the top of my glue. It'll look gorgeous. So I've trimmed my Bargello background down to card size, and I'm not going to do too much to finish it off because I want the pattern to be the image on this. So I have one of these cute little chipboard words from Heidi Swap and some embossing powder from Lindy's Stamp Gang. And I've got Guten Tag Teal and Weeping Willow Green Gold. And all I'm going to do is cover my little piece of chipboard with these two fantastic colours. So I've layered up the colours on the background to match the colours on the beautiful card. But it needs just a couple more touches to finish it off. So I have a beautiful piece of ribbon here that I'm going to mount just across the front to help separate the background from the word. Add a little bit of glossy accents to the back of your word. Now I'm just going to put something a little bit heavy on there just until that glue's started to dry to make sure it flattens. And we have a finished card. So you've got that gorgeous gold pattern running through the center, the colors, and then fading out to sort of pastel and white at either side. Who knew that your scraps from your craft room could look so gorgeous? I hope you've enjoyed this card, and I'll be back with more of the kissing class next week.